Like a vast river of knowledge, the secret archives of the Vatican flow through history. Like a river, they swell and narrow according to configurations of the history they traverse. Much of the material is fragmentary, some trivial, some obscene, but there is much steel in suspension, and much silver, and much gold. The archives constitute the world's richest collection of original documents and records, the footprints of 2,000 years of human experience. This book is a mixture of two stories. The first is the main story of the historical development of the secret archives. The second is the story of the Catholic Church, intertwined with Western civilization itself. It's difficult to separate the two in this book, so I'll give you an overview of the archives and hope that it inspires you to research them. The physical architecture of the archives is a labyrinthian maze, starting deep underground in an ancient Mithraic temple. Winding through the centuries of buildings, they end up at the top of the Tower of the Winds, where the Gregorian calendar was created. The secret archives are composed of 4,857 papal registers, imperial decrees, and translations of ancient documents. Additionally, 15 rooms of miscellanea contain political and historical documents, such as dispatches on Luther and Calvin, as well as 13th century reports on the Mongols. The oldest historical document in the archives is the Privilegium Ottonus in 962 AD, where German Emperor Otto the Great granted the Church temporal jurisdiction over most of Italy. The oldest papal documents in the archives are the letters of Pope Innocent III in 1198 AD. The secret archives officially were created by Pope Paul V in 1612, yet existed in various forms since the Scrinium of Constantine's age. They are tragically incomplete. The predecessor archives were sacked, looted, and dispersed dozens of times from the twilight of the Roman Empire through the Church's growth in the times of Gregory the Great. Especially damaging to the archive were the 14th century Avignon popes, who split the archive between two capital cities. Further, Napoleon looted the archives in his ambition to legitimize his own empire with the scepter of ancient documents. Often in the history of the secret archives, legend and history are mixed together. The martyrdom of St. Polycarp in 155 AD, the life of St. Jerome, and the Roman violence against Christians is muddled and filled with contradicting details. Even the 1309 AD trial of the Templars is unclear, a document 236 feet long, made from sewn parchment and illegible notarization. The details, the people, the crimes, literally erased from history. Heretics are also included in the thick tomes. Giovanni Pico's oratory defending the theologian Origen is an example of early humanism. Savonarola's feud with Pope Alexander VI Borgia called thousands of Savonarola's followers to wear little red crosses, which the Pope rooted out and burned publicly, saving one for himself. Savonarola was burned at the stake. The trial and conviction of Galileo by Pope Urban challenged the Copernican model of the cosmos. The Inquisition, witch hunts, and the rise of the occult is also detailed. The rise of diplomatic avici in the powerful courts of Europe gave the Vatican crucial insight into regal controversies. Their letters are full of gossip and intrigue. At the end of the book, the author writes her timely opinion of the late 1960s. Developing archival technology, such as microfilm, could unearth more secrets. Will the United Nations have its own body of archives? Will future generations consider saving documents after an atomic war? The author, somewhat a liberal of her time, still decries how archives became informal in the 1960s, leading up to Vatican II. Yet the archive survived the author's troubled times and still exists today. It is indisputable that it will persist as long as the will to maintain it continues. This book is a thrilling narrative of its history. It is the history of the West, of its men, strong and weak, of its women, devout or heretical. Most of all, it is the history of classical Christendom. I highly recommend that you check out the secret archives and their history, and that you check out this book. Thank you, and have a nice day.